Good morning, everyone. Todd is where you at, Todd? We'll give him a second to get here. Anyways, good morning, everyone. Today is April the 5th, 2021. This is StockCast, your pre-market show. I am your host, James Mason. Waiting on Todd Derby. So Todd is currently in Chicago right now, and he's at a hotel. And, well, technical difficulties. So, anyways, starting off, Dow futures are currently up 226 points. S&P 500 is up 23.5 points. And if you look at the pre-market, everything looks like it's perfect in the world, but we know the truth there. So for whatever reason, the market is pushing up today off of those job numbers, which we all know those are fluff numbers to begin with. But hey, that's the way the market works. So while we wait on Todd to pop in, if he does, what I will do is I'll just share my chart and we will pretend that Todd is in that lower box. So let me open up my comments real quick. All right. So first off, I want to talk about a pre-market mover. This is one that I've been watching for a little while, and you can see right now it's dying off. This is ticker BPTH. And this low float is notorious for obviously taking off like this, but it usually tends to keep running. And, unfortunately, it didn't today. So on the last report, its short interest was 125,000 shares being shorted. So pretty much next to nothing. Share structure, outstanding shares, 6.9 million. And the float, pretty much the same, right at 6.9 million. So super low float. They just released news today. And their news, let's see. Their news is they just completed a safety cohort of a triple combination of a bunch of words that I can't even read. And there's a couple things in there talking about it being in the stage 2 of a phase 2 clinical trial, and then so on. So when looking at this chart, and this being a low float here, with there already being a short attack on it, apparently, I honestly would not expect this thing to really break above the high of the pre-market here at 929. So if we can get this thing to bottom out, kind of go sideways, and let me put some EMAs up here. If we can get it to hold up on this 9 EMA as we come closer to the bell, we could probably get some inside action between this 810 range on up here to about 9. Again, I'm not really expecting this to break a pre-market high, but looking in the long term from now, since we did have this pop, if this thing could trend sideways, that pre-market high of 929, so we'll just round it up to 930, that's where I would look for a future breakout at. And we'll just have to play it as it comes. So this is ticker BPTH, and this one has done me pretty well in the past. It's very notorious for short squeezes. I'm not sure why people try to short this all the time. So by request, I have another ticker, ticker SAVA. All right. Last update for short interest on ticker SAVA. Shares short 3.6 million, 5.6% of the float, and let's see, days to cover, pretty much next to nothing. Outstanding shares 39.9 million, the float 38 million. So another low float here Let me just take a look at catalysts. So I see a form 4 off the top. I'm not sure what it says yet. And so I pretty much just see a bunch of filings off the top. Now, we do see, here on the daily chart, this is that stock that literally ran from under $10 not too long ago. And everybody was chasing it. It just kept squeezing and squeezing. Hit a high of 117.54. And stand by a second. Well, hello there, Todd.
Hello. For some reason I got cut out and I got lost there for a moment.
Hey, Todd. If you can't show up on time, just show up whenever you can, all right?
I like that rule. Well, hello, everyone. I'm on a little vacay. I'm coming from downtown Chicago, and internet technology and getting hooked up is a little more challenging. It's all fun and games until your PIN number and internet doesn't work.
No. Hopefully you can try to trade off of their internet, are you?
No, I've got actually my laptop was having a problem. I'm using the hotel main desktop. I have to go buy a new laptop today, so I will not be trading today.
All right. So I was just talking to them about ticker SAVA.
Okay.
All right. So everyone, we can see that it hit a high back here at 117.54, and to be honest, I don't expect it to do that again. Based off this one day, 1 year chart, what I'm kind of expecting it to do is follow the classic pattern. It's kind of also the same pattern as a pump and dump, where you have a sharp spike up on the daily chart, and then it just drastically pulls back. And then it will go sideways for a little bit, and then you'll have another pop up that will kind of go up somewhere to about, mid-range for that previous run. So those target prices for mid-range, I would kind of do a guesstimation here on, would be about 66 on up to about 74. And that's just hypothetically speaking. There's still going to need to be like some form of catalyst to actually push it up there. But overall, when they make these moves like this and then pull back, and then it has a PPS value in this high in the mid 40s, this is just something that I personally don't like to try to pursue. I feel like once it gets in those ranges, it just becomes too hard to actually get a good run out of it a second time around. Now, had this thing been, $5-10, I'd probably be decently focused on it. So we currently see this daily candlestick under that 9 EMA. We currently see its second wave of red MACD. And as long as this thing can hold up in the next few days, maybe a week or so, if we can get this daily candle back above that 9 EMA and get it to actually hold, and then have that MACD turn over green, we could see that secondary spike. After that, it pretty much dies off at that point. So this, in my opinion, this is not a long-term hold. This is one of those, if you get in, you get out as soon as possible. And this is ticker SAVA. All right, another one I have is ticker RUBY. So last update on the short interest will be 9.5 million shares being shorted. The percent of the float, 28%. Days of the cover, 5.6. Outstanding shares, 88 million. The float, 34 million. So based off of this, based off these fundamentals right here, and without even really looking at this daily chart, I like that setup for the fundamentals. Now, let's kind of dig into this daily chart. So I don't know anything about this company at all, really, but looks like it IPO'd back here. It also could have been a merger. I don't know. Again, So let's see what this says. So its high back here was 33.01. And what I would like to look for a lot of times is that break above the initial high. So if this thing truly did IPO back here and it wasn't like a merger or whatever else it could have done, that's what I would really look for. I mean, we can see that we already tested this. And it pulled back. It's consolidating. It's going to run more than likely a little red on the MACD going sideways. Hopefully it can hold up here on this non-EMA. But what I would look for here with this setup is breaking this high at 38. We'll just round it up to 38.75 before making just like a small entry. Now, you know, why that difference of, you know, literally 13 points? Confirmation. I'm not talking about trading this as in the context of being an investor. I'm talking about trading this in the context of just being a day trader, a short-term swing trader. And the reason why I need to wait for that break above this high right here on this daily candle is because, you know, I would have missed my initial run already. Now, had I been, you know, down here, cool, no big deal. But with the way I trade, trying to play this anywhere in between this point to the breakout up here, it's kind of a coin toss. Like I could get in right here thinking I'm going to get the best deal possible. And then, you know, a couple days later, someone else is getting the best deal possible down here at 19, and then so on. That's what happens a lot of times when people try to, you know, chase it for those lower numbers. They usually set Todd.
They just did an offering 2 weeks ago at $29. So they said the offering got closed out by the third week of March. So if the offering is at 29, there's a possibility this could come back.
Yeah. But I mean, again, like for me, I still need to see that break above that high. And
I agree.
Like for everyone else, like just because there's an offering at 29, that doesn't mean it's going to stop at 29. I mean, if you look back on a lot of these like smaller low floats, you know, they'll give an offering for whatever range and it can quadruple that PPS value. I mean, it happens all the time. And the reason why is because it's a low float and there's FOMO behind it and people just chasing it. And you have the bears trying to jump on it to short it, and you know they'll blow up their accounts, and then it causes literally there's parabolic movements. Like the last ticker we looked at, SAVA. So that's just what I see in this ticker right here. This is ticker RUBY. And let's see, Todd, did you have anything?
No, there's been a couple people have asked about a couple in the chat. One is called SVRA, Sammy, Victor, Robert, Apple.
Okay, hold on, stand by a second. Looking at some news that's popping up right now. Ticker LEAF. Apparently all cash buyout. See, Leaf Group to be acquired by Graham Holding Company for $8.50 per share in all cash transaction, valued at $323 million. Let me look at this really quick. Next to nothing for short interest. Shares outstanding, 35.8 million. Float, 27.2 million.
What's it currently trading at right this moment?
At 8.38.
Yeah, so There's not much room there for range there.
You might get some FOMO to jump on it, but it's not. I don't think it's going to push it up much higher.
Not the offerings at 850.
Yeah, I was hoping to catch it with a little bit more. I mean, this is just one of those plays. Like, I just saw the news pop up, and literally the move had done happen 12 minutes ago. But it's just how it works. So there's actually a couple other pieces of news that are popping up right at this moment. Let me take a look at those. Okay. This is really just some filings I was looking at on ticker CDTX, but nothing too significant to really push them up much higher. All right. But yeah, sorry for cutting you off, Todd.
No problem. It's we're talking about news. GameStop did a 3.5 million share offering this morning, and the stock dropped considerably.
Man, it's about time. Like,
yeah,
I'll be honest. The leadership in GameStop, horrible, horrible. Like,
well, they just brought a new guy on board, didn't they, just recently? So he's probably just getting things organized and under control. But the same guy who was it Chewy or PetSmart that he was developing.
Mm-hmm.
So we'll see.
When it pushed up back here, though, they should have been offering then.
Absolutely.
400. Like, I can't believe that they let it go up, and it actually did break 500, if I'm not mistaken. Just barely, though. But I think it done it in the pre-market. But anyways, it pulled back here. I can't believe they let it go from, $400 or $500 range down to literally $40 again, and then let it run back up. I'm just mind blown. And we've talked about this before in the past, Todd. Just mind blown that a company literally not on the verge of bankruptcy, literally in bankruptcy, and they didn't save their company when it was over $400 a share. It's mind blowing. They could have sold. It wouldn't even matter. They could have sold enough freaking shares and been set for the next decade financially. I just can't wrap my mind around that. I don't know. That's just my opinion on it. Like, what's that, Todd?
I want to go back and review a couple of other tickers real quick.
Yeah, what tickers?
SVRA. Sammy, Victor, Robert, Alpha.
Last update, short interest, 987,000 shares. Outstanding shares, 100, we'll just round it up, 112 million shares outstanding. Afloat, 110.8 million shares. So a little high there for the float. Not anything extreme. Like, I mean, 100 million shares for outstanding and the float, I'd still trade it. So looking at the news. Excuse me. So pretty much I just see filings off the top. I'm not sure what catalyst that they have in their pipeline right now, but let's look at this daily chart. So just up 9 cents pre-market today. And I do like this overall picture. If I, kind of back out how it's a beat down. I like that when it's like long-term beat down. See, non-EMA over to 200. That's good. Okay, so for me, in an entry, I'd have to see this thing break above. We'll round it up to 325. Oh, whatever. It's the wrong line. We'll just pretend that says 325. So you can see this yellow line I just drew, and you can see these highs back here. After its major gap down, came back up and tested it right there. You see how it gapped up and it actually gapped above that, and it came down, consolidated for a moment on the state of the chart, and then when it actually broke below that, that's kind of when it died off. And it tested it again right here. It tested it again right here. So for me to make an entry on this, what I need to see it do is break back above 325 before I would enter this thing. Overall target price, let's see, 612. You can see this little channel that I created. So 612 would come up here and test this. I mean, yeah, we could fill this gap in the future, but we just don't know what catalysts we're going to get. We don't know what's going to happen here. So my overall target price would be 612. My stop loss would be right here around 267. And you can see that line going through. I'll zoom in. So you see this 9 EMA and how it kind of does this little curl. That's why I'd make that my stop loss. Because chances are, if it does break down below that point, it's going to keep selling off. If I kind of back out a little bit, you can kind of see how those daily candlesticks respond to that stop loss area as well. So this is ticker SVRA. I would look for my entry at 325, breaking above, these highs right here. Stop loss 267. Overall target price 612. And again, guys, like when you're trading these tickers, I do like to put what would be considered a little wider stop loss in it. And that's really I'm just trading what the chart shows me. Like, I don't believe in putting the whole, default 10 cent or 15 cent stop loss. I personally think that's stupid, but that's just my opinion. Everybody has their own style. This is my style. I just put my stop where the chart tells me that it's going to break down at. And I scale in easy. And with how I trade, I can take a smaller position in something like this because I'm going for multiple points with these trades. And just taking a smaller position can yield me huge money. And really, the losses are very small. So that's why I trade like this. And that is ticker SVRA. So there's one that's actually been requested. Let's see, Michelle, ticker SNMP.
Oh, yeah. Popular one.
So we were bullish on this a few times already and got in and out. Had this last nice little spike here. So before this ticker was brought up to me again, or actually I saw you and another gentleman talking about it in the Facebook group. And that's why I noted it. So anyways, if you didn't take your profits on the last run, or if you're just now getting in, they actually do have some news out there that they're looking to raise money. I can't remember the actual dollar amount, but if they're looking to raise money by selling shares, we will probably see, or there's a good chance that we could see at least one more breakout. As for when, you can't really predict that. But overall, this ticker has been good to our members, and I think we can probably get one more out of this. I wouldn't hold a huge position in this just in case, but I think this one might be worth, in my opinion, at least for me, maybe holding just a very small position And again, I'd have to go back to the classic breakout point of $1.35 before jumping into this bad boy. And if we can get some FOMO behind this thing, get a run up to about 313 to realistically about 445. But if we get a lot of FOMO up here to this low around let's say 650. I'll draw those lines out for y'all. So break above 135. So you can see that first kind of target range. I'm going off those highs right here. Second target range, we'll just round it to about 150. And then like the extreme overall target range, I'll just put right here. So entry for me would be at 135. And with this being really so cheap and I just have a small position here, I personally, I wouldn't even have a stop loss. For anyone else out there, I would probably consider putting a stop in around, man, it's kind of hard to say because there's just so much support around that $1 range. And with this being a stock that's trading on this level, even though it's at 90 cents right now, they're going to do whatever they can to get it back over $1. So honestly, if someone absolutely needed to stop here, I'd probably consider a stop right around 108. But keep in mind you have a ton of support between. Well, that wouldn't be good at 50 cents, but you do have a ton of support between that 108 and that $1 range, even all the way down to 80 cents. Just like a ton of support. So again, 135 would be my entry. I would probably, if this thing does spike as they raise money, I'd probably just take and cover it all at the $3 range and not even care about these additional target prices. But, just to chart it out for y'all so y'all can see it and why I'm sure those ranges. There we go. That is ticker SNMP. So, see.
One more, maybe one more.
Yeah, I want to say something real quick about, so Simon, ticker SNDL. We talked about this one last week, and unfortunately, I'm not sure if I'm assuming you're kind of in it, but SNDL is just, it's a bloated pig. Their share structure, they have 1.6 billion shares on the market. It's pretty much dead. And I'll pull up their chart just real quickly. Them having 1.6 billion shares on the market, I mean, that's just way too many shares. And this pump back here, that's as good as it's going to get until they do something about their share structure. All right, Todd, did you have one for me?
Yeah, let's talk about PHIO. PHIO.
PHIO.
I think that was our recent alert.
Yeah. Where's that? Last update, short interest, 436,000 shares, 3% in the float, so next to nothing. Outstanding shares, 13.5 million, float 13.5. They have some catalysts on the horizon. All right, so this ticker, PHIO, this thing has been kind of really hard to pinpoint that entry and get it just right without it pulling back down. I actually, for me, let's see. I actually just moved my stop up on this one to 264. That was done on the 1st, I believe. Let me zoom into a 5-minute chart real quick. So I'm really choking down on this stop loss. In theory, it should hold up at this range. But again, like this thing has went down, triggered my stop, I think twice already. And it's kind of getting a little aggravating. But overall, my losses are small on it. But whenever this thing decides to freaking commit to this, we should see a pretty nice move here. So if it doesn't trigger at 264 for me, and again, that's a very tight stop loss. If it doesn't trigger and holds up right here, hopefully we can see a quick push up to about 340 there. We need to get to break above a 340. If we can get that thing to break above that 340 range, I mean, we have the potential for an overall target of 925, in my opinion. And I've just been waiting on this one for a little while now, and waiting to see what it can do. This is ticker PHIO.
Okay.
I'm hoping it kind of makes a move, kind of like how APOP did for us. And if you look back at the APOP chart, so everyone, freeze this picture in your brain right now. So take a look at APOP. It kind of almost has the same setup, going to extend it like this, and it kind of coming down here below that 200 EMA line, consolidating, and then slowly making that push back up until it had its catalyst and made that pop. So PHIO could take a little while. And this is why I take smaller positions and hold these things. Even if I'm holding it for a few months, take a couple thousand share, position here, hold it to where I can continue to trade everything else. And whenever it pops, lock in profits. That's what this is about. So that is all I have for today, pre-market. And the Dow futures are still holding up. They're currently at 215, but it kind of looks like they're starting to pull back some. S&P 500 futures are still holding up. And just keep in mind, guys, like while these futures might be pushing up off of a job report, the reality is we're still not back to the capacity that we were pre-COVID. It's a rigged system. That's all I can say about it. It's a rigged system, and we're not supposed to win. That's how this game goes. So, hey, everyone, I appreciate y'all tuning in today. I hope everyone had a safe and happy Easter, and let's make some money.